Hello everybody, welcome to LilyLuLou. If you're new here, my name's Karen, I'm the Junk Journal Geek, and I know that I have quite a lot of new subscribers. Wishes and Weeds kindly gave me a shout out on her channel, which is a lot bigger than mine, and I've had quite a few new subbies come over from there. So thank you, Nancy, and thank you to everyone who's come over and subscribe to my little channel. I hope you'll like what you see here. So today I am working on the Junk Journal Geeks weekly challenge. If you are new here, over in my Facebook group I issue a challenge every week. It's just for fun, there's no pressure, no prize, nothing like that. It's just for people, you know, to use as a jumping off point if they would like to. And this week's challenge is to use pastel colours. Now, I'm doing this in the week of the challenge, but you probably won't see this up on my channel until next week. So we'll be a week behind by then, but it doesn't matter. So pastel colours, yes. Now, if you have been here for a while, you will know that for about probably 2 years, I'm ashamed to say, I've been working on this. I'm calling it the Lilac Journal. It's actually for a friend, and we were planning to meet up, and I was planning to have this ready to give to her when we met up. And for one reason or another, things kept getting postponed and put off. And now that I've moved over to Northern Ireland, it's probably not going to happen realistically. So I've pulled this out to get it finished so that I can post it to her. Now, I was just going to say something else about this journal and it'll come back to me in a minute. So I thought, as this week's challenge is a pastel challenge, and this journal is full of like pink, blue and lilac, I thought I would do something in there. And when I was making a video the other day, I was showing you some old journals of mine that had that I'm selling off because they got a bit squished in the house move. So I've popped them back up for sale at a reduced price. And while I was flipping through, I saw one of my envelope stacked pages that I love to do, and I haven't done that for quite a while, so I thought I'll do that today in this journal. So this might be a bit of a stop and start video. It might take me quite some time because I'm going to make the envelopes from scratch. So fair warning, grab a cuppa and buckle in. These papers that I'm using are my own. I have just started 2 other journals, glutton for punishment, for my 2 grandsons. I've got 5 grandchildren, and so far only 2 of them have had a journal made, as their mum's using it like as a memory book for them to tuck things in, you know, to keep keepsakes. So because I have, you know, because before I moved, I had 6 months or so where I didn't have time to do anything. I did promise that once we moved, I would knuckle down and I would make journals for the other 3. And I also made my eldest granddaughter a quilt when she was small. So I now also owe the others 4 quilts. So I'm also going to be doing that. So I've sort of been, over the last few months, I have borne all that in mind, and I've been collecting stuff together. And so yesterday, last week I spoke to my daughter and asked what sort of themes she wanted for the boys' journals, because I thought I'd make them together. Then they'll be similar, although they will be different. Whoops, went a bit wonky there. So she decided that she wanted one Winnie the Pooh, which you will have seen if you have been here a while. You'll have seen I made my youngest daughter a Winnie the Pooh journal for her 21st birthday. Yeah, one's Winnie the Pooh and one is going to be Paddington Bear. And I had made for my eldest grandson a Peter Rabbit journal. So I wanted them all to have the same fabric cover so that they sort of go together on the shelf. But they will be very different, obviously, because they will be different themes. But the predominant colour is going to be blue. So I printed out some papers yesterday. The Winnie the Pooh, I've already got lots of resources for that because I have made a Winnie the Pooh journal before, although this one is going to be very different. The Paddington Bear one, I've had to sort of put some stuff together myself. And for the backing pages, I printed some just pastel colour papers. And these three were sort of overprints. These were the backing pages on the pages I created. And these were, I miscalculated how many I needed. So I have these three over. So I'm going to use these. Very long-winded story there to tell you how I came about using these papers. So I'm just going to pause you for a moment while I cut these papers down into squares, different size squares, hopefully. And I will get the envelope punch board out to use that to create the envelopes. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've cut these into squares. I hope I'll be able to make this work because I was sort of winging it a bit. I didn't plan it out. Normally when I do these, I have the envelopes already made so I can sort of play around with how they look and work out what I'm going to do. So hopefully I've got sizes here that will work, but if not, then we'll do something else. So this piece of paper should be 7.5 inches square. So if I have paper that is 7.5 inches square, I can do that one or this. Let's do this one. So we're going to score. This is going to make an envelope for a card that would be 4.5 by 4.5. So the envelope will be slightly bigger than that. And we need to score at 3 3/4 of an inch. So if you haven't seen a scoreboard before, what you do is with that measurement, 3 3/4, it was 3 3/4, wasn't it? I better make sure. Yeah. You line the edge of your paper up at the measurement that you've just been given, and then there's a groove here that you can see underneath the paper. So you score along that groove and you punch here. Now, a caveat to this, these may not be square because I did cut the edges off the paper with my knife, as you saw when I was talking to you at the beginning. Right now what you do is that score line that we've just made, you line it up with this point on the punch there. Yeah, these papers, although the sides that I cut on the guillotine will be square, the edges that I cut with my knife and ruler may not be square because that is not my forte. Yeah, look, you just turn the paper round and do the same on each side. So these may not come out quite right, but we'll just fiddle about with them if that happens and try and make it work. There's something jammed in there that's stopping me line my paper up. So let's try that again. I didn't see anything fall out, but there was definitely some resistance there stopping me line my paper up straight. So this definitely looks like we're going to have an issue. It's not a great start, is it? You can see straight away this is, my lines are not lined up with my grooves there, but we will work with it and see what happens. So now we're just folding in each of those points to make our envelope shape. So there we have our first envelope. Now let's just check that it's going to fit on the page okay. Yep. I was thinking I might put it on one of these music pages, so, and that will go like that. And then we won't stick these down, we'll leave them, I think. It doesn't fit on the screen, does it? We'll leave them so that they can be unfolded and journaled on. And then the other envelopes I'll probably stick on top of this one because this is quite a big one. So let's carry on and make the others and then work out what we're going to do. So the next biggest one is this one. And this was 6 inches square. So if I look at my paper size on here, I can do a 3 by 4 or a 3.5 by 3.5. Let's go for the 3.5 by 3.5. So the score line for that is 3 inches. So we're just going to do exactly the same as we did with the first one. Also, these may not be lining up properly because I'm sitting at my desk doing this. So I'm not directly above, you know, I'm not looking down directly on the measurements. Normally I would stand up at the table and do this so that I could, you know, look straight down onto here. Right, next one down is, oh, we have 2 here the same size by the looks of it. That one, oh, we've got 3 the same size, okay. So these are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. I remember cutting those. I was trying to get as much out of the paper as I could. So 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 is going to make a 3 by 3. Do we have any other options? No, we do not. So we're going to have 3 envelopes the same size, but I could always go and take a little bit off and make a different size. But let's have a look at the, no, did I say it was 5 1/4 or 5 3/4? 5 1/4. So we will make the 3 by 3. So the score line is 2 5/8. And luckily these measurements here are quite clear for me to see. So how are you all? I don't think I've asked you yet, have I? How rude of me. Everything's good here. The sun is shining at the moment. It's not hot, but the sun is shining, so that's nice. For those of you who are new here, you can probably tell by my accent that I am English, but currently I'm living in Northern Ireland. Right, I'm just going to quickly have a look at these to make sure I don't want to change the sizes of these other 2 pieces of paper before I go any further. Yeah, so I live in Northern Ireland where it rains quite a lot. Which makes it very green, very beautiful, but very wet. So that's going to be my background. I need to think about how these are going to be stuck on and how they're going to look. So there, that would be okay, but we'd want the one in a different colour. So we'll definitely do one more that size. So that was 5 1/4, 2 5/8. I've stopped talking because I'm concentrating. I'm just thinking what I should have done was actually printed out some, or used some more interesting papers as well, rather than just these plain colours. But we can always stick something on them to decorate them up a bit more. Right, let's just have a jiggle with these and see how they look. And then we'll decide what to do about the last one. So I'm going to take my music page out. I'm just thinking in my next signature I have a music page that's a bit bigger, so I might do that one. And it will have to go on this side because I've got a pocket here. I don't know if you can see on camera. It needs gluing down that side, but right, so that's not an envelope, Karen, that's a piece of paper. So let's have a look at these and see how they will go. So if I have my big one on the back, I can't have anything over the fold, because if this is glued down here, I've got to be able to lift that up, and if anything's going over there, that's going to prevent that. But I can have one stuck down here, which will come on top there. So when that's unfolded, that can be unfolded, and that can be unfolded. So that would be okay. Takes a bit of thinking about this. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I had a phone call in the middle of recording, and it stopped recording, and I didn't realise. Then I restarted the recording, started talking to you again, and the phone rang again. So I'm back now, but you have missed a bit, I'm afraid. You've missed me sticking down the envelope, inking them all and sticking them down, which is probably not a bad thing, because it did take a bit of thinking about and jigging about with it. And then I decided I was going to add some stamps onto the envelopes, and I've got a little postage mark stamp out as well to pop on. So let's do that together. And I don't know what else, I don't know what I was saying that you've missed me talking about, but yeah, sorry about that. So what I thought was going to be quite a long video today is not quite so long, because I say you've missed me fiddling about with where I was going to stick the envelopes, and then choosing the stamps, and doing a little bit of stamping on the envelopes. You missed all that, unfortunately, but you know, it's nothing that is difficult and you don't know how to do yourselves, apart from probably arranging the envelopes, but you did see me do some of that just now, so hopefully that will be enough for you to work out what you need to do if you wanted to do something like this. So I'm just popping these stamps on with glue stick. I think that will be sufficient. And then, although that one is printed on cardstock, these are faux stamps, obviously, they're not real stamps. This one's printed on cardstock, so I'm not sure if it might need, oops, a little bit extra. It's not on there straight, but That will have to do. Yeah, I might have to go in there later with some art glitter glue for that. So let's bung some, just to pop a little bit of, maybe I should have got the black out for that. Oh, I don't know where my black's gone. Okay, well, we'll stick with the vintage photo then. I'm deliberately not inking this up properly so that we get, you know, it's a more realistic sort of postage mark on there. So I think that is it. That's my offering for working with pastel colours. So we start here. This will open up for journaling space. This is how I've got it at the moment. I may well seal up one or two of these as envelopes so that we can tuck something in, or I may leave it like that so that the lady that this journal's for can do that herself if she wants to. We will see. And then this one, oops, this one's going to need a little bit of attention because it's got stuck down and because I got distracted with that phone call. I haven't gone in and sorted that, so I'll need to pop something there to hide that. But there again, more journaling space. So that's those ones. And then this one will open up for more journaling space. And then finally this one gives us another large area for journaling. Or you could, you know, stick a picture in there. So although we've got a decorative page, you know, and possibly you wouldn't want to write on a music page, wouldn't be very legible, would it? We've actually added a ton of writing space on that one page with those envelopes. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry you missed a big chunk in the middle, but hopefully that kept it more interesting for you. And I will be back again in another couple of days, hopefully, with something else for you. So thank you for watching. Look after yourselves, and until next time, enjoy your own crafty time. Bye-bye.